Good afternoon, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Big Akar Ahmed and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be talking about something very important, something that a lot of the Muslim world has misconceptions on and goes ahead and judges each other on. And this is going to be what the Shia Muslims pray on, and this is a rock. Why do the Shia Muslims pray on a rock? What is wrong with them? And this rock is called a turba. And we're going to talk exactly about what a turba is in just a moment and why this is the a part of the Sunnah of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and why we do indeed pray on this turba. Okay? Now, before I go ahead and start that, I would like to say a short message to my Sunni and Shia brothers and sisters. Please, brothers and sisters, if you don't have preconceived knowledge on a specific subject, if you have not studied a specific subject, please do not speak on it. All you're doing is creating a hateful and disingenuous section inside of the world, and other people of other cultures and other religions also see this, and all you're doing is pushing them away from Islam and pushing yourself away from the truth. Okay, knowledge is indeed power, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us intellect and gave us a brain so that we would go ahead and study. One of the most beautiful things about Islam, the religion of Islam in the Holy Quran, is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes ahead and tells us to please go ahead and study. Please go ahead and don't believe blindly. Don't have a blind faith. This is one of the most biggest arguments against Christianity that I see a lot of Muslims online go ahead and use. Is you guys just believe blindly and you believe, but most Muslims honestly believe blindly as well. They're born into Islam. They don't read the Quran. They don't jump into the Hadith. They don't understand who the writers of the hadiths are, who is Bukhari, who is Sahih Muslim, who are these gentlemen, what is their biography, how long after were these books compiled, and what happened. You like to use a lot of very disingenuous and very ignorant claims on one another without actually having much knowledge on one another, which I find very disingenuous and I find very sickening. Please, ladies and gentlemen, my Muslim brothers and sisters, the number one thing that is going to block you from understanding or coming to the straight path or gaining knowledge is ignorance and your ego. The one who has the biggest ego is Shaitan, is Iblis, who went ahead and denied the prostration to Adam in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is one of the biggest inflamed egos on the planet. And why did he not prostrate to Adam? He did not prostrate to Adam alayhi salam, peace and blessings be upon him. Why? Because he did not have the ego to do so. He had such an inflated ego. He said, look at this creature. This creature is not better than I, and I'm going to show you why this creature is not better than I. This creature's ego is worse than my ego, and I'm going to show you this creature's ego. So please, ladies and gentlemen, do not let your ego in the way. Do not let your ego get in the way of knowledge and understanding and researching and coming together and having logical discussion and logical and critical discussions about a lot of different things. This is a religion that's been around for 1,500 years, and it is not something that is just like plain in your face and easy, especially for most of us that have not dived directly into all of these sourcings. We're not grand scholars, we're not sheikhs. This is something that is going to be very difficult. Even for the sheikhs and these grand scholars that have studied for 80 years, they disagree on so many different things. On what they can eat, what they can't eat, where they can travel, where they can't travel, how they pray or how they don't pray, where their hands are positioned, where their hands aren't positioned. There's so many different things that they go ahead and they've been studying the Sunnah of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, for 40, 50, 60 years, and they still disagree with each other. So this is not something that is very simple. Within Sunni Islam, within Shia Islam, there are so many that disagree with each other within their own sects, within their own schools of thoughts. Just go to the Malikis, they pray with their hands to their side, and then within this Maliki school of thought, they go ahead and they have differences when it comes to a lot of different things. How can you have the same school of thought, the same sourcing, the same biases, and then go ahead and still disagree with each other? So this is something that is not a very easy matter. This is something that you guys have to realize. There would be no point of Nabi Isa, peace and blessings be upon him, coming back, or there would be no point of the Mahdi coming back to be the final, caliph and final successor of Islam if Islam was in a state where it is, perfected, or it has been, 100% preserved. Yes, the Holy Quran is preserved. Yes, we have the same Holy Quran. For those who are watching this right now who are Sunni, who are ready to keyboard warrior type and tell me that I don't read the same Quran as you. This is my Quran translated by Abdullah Yusuf Ali, and this is exactly what it looks like. This is how much I've read my Quran. This is how much I've tabbed my Quran. This is how much I've gone ahead and studied my Quran. And no, I did not write on my Quran, by the way, before you go ahead and start freaking out as well. I have clear sticky notes that go ahead and have tabbed all of the information that I found and deemed interesting, or I found and deemed a question, or I found and deemed that I need to research more about. And this is how I've studied the Quran. I have read the Quran through 3 times. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Allah has allowed me to read the whole entire Quran during the month of Ramadan, and I am very, very thankful for this. So now we're going to go ahead and jump into what is a turba and why is this very, very important. But just keep this in mind, brothers and sisters. There is no need in arguing and bickering, but have logical and critical discussions with each other, pull sourcings, and understand what you are talking about before you speak. Please, inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides us all to the straight path. Okay, what is a turba? A turba is a small piece of soil or clay, often a clay tablet, used in salat. Okay? Many hadith mention the benefits of prostration upon the soil of the earth or an alternative material. All right? So, this right here is clay. It is made of clay. Okay? The reason we prostrate on this clay is because it is a natural material of the earth. This is something that we are actually created from. We're created from clay. We're created from dust. We're created from dirt. We're created from the soil. This is something that we want to prostrate on because this is something that connects us directly to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His creation. Okay? We don't want to prostrate on something that is a man-made material or a cloth. We want to prostrate on something that is directly from the earth. And this is why Shia Muslims believe and do this, okay? Because we see that the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, and all the prophets before him went ahead and prostrated on a natural surface of the ground. This right here is a question that was asked to Sheikh Faraz A. Khan, and the question is, I was born into a Sunni Muslim family and we pray on prayer mats, the same kind found in mosques around the world. I recently watched SHIA Muslims pray where they praise the turba clay, mainly from Karbala, Iraq, on the ground. So I confronted them on this and they replied, it is Sunnah. If we are told that the Sunni Muslims practice Islam like the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, why are we praying on mats made from cotton? It is said that the Prophet only prayed on a kamra. Here is the source right here. And it is not permissible to pray on materials that are to be worn, which essentially would make up all prayers invalid, because I am praying on a mat made from cotton, question mark. So he wants to know if his prayers are invalid because he's praying on a mat and not a natural surface. And the Sheikh goes ahead and responds, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I pray this finds you the best of health and states. Praying on cotton mats does not invalidate the prayer. Just because the beloved messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, did not pray on such mats does not affect the validity of the prayer. Regarding the prayer area, the only condition for validity of prayer is that it be free from filth. One may pray on a natural earth or any material, whether normally worn or not, as long as it is ritually clean. Of course, one does not have to pray on a prayer mat, but there are many advantages to doing so, such as providing a smooth surface for prostration and a clean surface to protect one's clothes from dust and dirt. In this light, it could be considered a good innovation, but certainly a professional innovation, as there is nothing offensive in it. For a breakdown of categories and innovation, please example, blah, 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 blah. And Allah knows best. SALAM, Faraz. Okay? So, I'm not clearly understanding what is a good innovation. Within Sunni and Shia Islam, I see a lot of these good innovations, and I disagree with very many of them. Is this an innovation? Yes, the actual turba here, the actual clay stone, there's no narration saying that the Prophet prayed on a clay stone. We don't pray on a clay stone because the Prophet prayed on a clay stone. We pray on a clay stone because it is a natural surface of the earth. Instead of me going outside in my front yard and praying on the grass, I just grab the natural clay, place it on the ground, on my carpet, and I prostrate on that natural surface of the ground. This is why we do that. This is not something that is an innovation in a way to where the Prophet prayed on a clay stone. No, the Prophet prayed on natural surfaces of the ground, and only natural surfaces of the ground, not on carpet specifically. So this is why we do this. We do this because the prophets, all of them, when they prostrated on the natural surface of the earth. And I'm not understanding, right? Like he's saying as well, this is not the innovation he's talking about. He's talking about the innovation of the actual prayer rug. The smooth surface for prostration, a clean surface, is considered a good innovation, okay? The cotton mat, all right? Now, if the cotton mat is made out of cotton, that may be also considered a natural surface of the earth. But when you want to prostrate on a natural surface of the earth, it's not going to be cotton. It's going to be something that is on the ground. It's going to be something that is like leaves. It's going to be sand, dirt, soil, concrete. Something that is the ground. When you prostrate, you place your head on the ground. You don't place your head on carpet. You don't separate a layer between the ground and your prostration. This is why we do this. So just to put it in perspective, okay? Now, what is a qamra? Because he went ahead and described that in Bukhari, right? Volume 1, Book 8, number 376, it talks about this qamra, where the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, went ahead, took out this mat and placed it on the ground in front of him and prayed on this mat. A small mat sufficient just for the face and just for the hands while prostrating during prayers. So it does not cover the whole knees. It doesn't cover you don't stand on it. It is something just for your hands and your face, okay? And I'm assuming the Prophet went ahead and did this after I've gone ahead and read this Bukhari Hadith, is because he did not want to get his face and his hands and everything dirty from the ground. Even though he was able to prostrate on that ground, he did not choose to, okay? A qamra is a small mat made from palm fibers or other materials, okay? And it is like that which the SHIA use for prostration. So it's made from palm fibers. So like I said again, it is something that you want it to be some type of natural surface, some type of thing that is I'm sorry for losing my train of thought there. You need something to be a natural surface of the ground. So it's gone ahead and it is made from palm fibers. So the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him, had prayed and put his head and his hands on a mat created from palm fibers, which is a tree, which is a surface of wood. We also believe like you can take a piece of paper, as long as there's no writing on it or anything of this nature, and you can prostrate on a piece of paper, you can prostrate on a leaf, you can prostrate on things that are a natural surface of the ground. This is how the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, had prayed, and the prophets before him had prayed on the natural surface of the ground, and this is why we use this turba, okay? This is what the Holy Quran goes ahead and says about wudu, actually, and about becoming tahir, using things other than water. O believers, when you rise up for your prayer, wash your faces and your hands up to your elbows, and wipe your heads, and wash your feet to the ankles. And if you are in the state of full impurity, then take a full bath. But if you are ill, on a journey, or have relieved yourselves, or have been intimate with your wives and cannot find water, then purify yourselves with clean earth by wiping your faces and hands. And it is not Allah will be burdened to you, but to purify you and complete his favor upon you. So perhaps you will be grateful. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, many times in the Quran, he really makes it clear that he does not want to burden us. Is that he wants us to be able to prostrate to him and to worship him and to get through our day-to-day lives and to live with our family members and live with our communities in a way that does not burden us, okay? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to make it easy for us to worship him. He does not want to make us jump through 100,000 hoops to make it hard for us to worship him, okay? So, do I personally believe, I'm not a grand scholar, but do I personally believe if you are a Sunni Muslim and you go ahead and you prostrate on a carpet, is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala invalidating your prayers and not accepting your prayers? No. He's not. Do I personally believe that if you go ahead and pray on the natural surface of the ground by using a turba, by using a piece of clay to go ahead and place your forehead on the ground, is that invalidating your prayer? No, I personally do not believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not answering my prayers because I'm praying on this turba. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has very, 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 very much answered my prayers and answered my du'as with me praying the way I've been praying for the last 27 years. He has given me things by color, date, name, time in the most miraculous ways. So there are things that are just unquestionably blessings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me. And if my prayers are being invalidated, my du'as are being invalidated, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would not be answering me. Okay? The Holy Quran here is talking about how we can actually, and I know this is not talking about prostrating your head on the ground, but we're talking about something that purifies us, okay? And this is clean earth by wiping your faces and hands, okay? So this is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us a go on, is being able to do this wudu, or this cleansingness of our body, if water is not available, with clean earth or dust or sand or soil. And this is something that is important. This is something I want to talk about here because it is something that makes us pure, okay? So when we say that we want to prostrate on the clean soil of the earth, we want to prostrate on a natural surface of the earth, what does this mean? This means that we want to prostrate on something that's pure. We want to prostrate on something that's pure to our bodies, that's pure to our souls. You understand? So this is also a reference that I wanted to go ahead and talk about from the Holy Quran that talks about this right here. And I'm going to go ahead and pull up a statement from Bukhari as well about exactly doing wudu with dust. The Prophet saying so lightly stroked the earth with his hand once and blew it off, then passed the left hand over his back to the right hand and the back of his left hand, and then passed it over his face. So Abdullah said, Abu Musa, don't you know that Umar was not satisfied with Amar's statement? Narrated Shakib. While I was with Abdullah and Abu Musa, the latter said to the former, haven't you heard the statement of Amr to Amr? Amr to Amr. Sorry. And said, Allah's messenger sent you and me out, and I became janub and rolled myself in the dust to clean earth. When we came to Allah's apostle and told him about it, he said that would have been sufficient, passing his hands over the face and backs in his hands only once. So I'm not quite sure, or I don't really understand why Umar is dissatisfied with this in any way when it was revealed in the Quran. And I'm not trying to say anything against Umar. I'm just kind of a little bit confused here, and I don't know if I have the full context of before and after here. I did read it, but I don't understand it very, very well. Maybe if I read it in the Arabic or understood it in the Arabic properly, then this would go ahead and make a little bit more sense to me. But this is also talking about doing wudu and cleaning yourself with the dust. So this is also something I want to go ahead and label and back it up with the Sunnah, right? The Sunnah, or the credible sources or credible hadiths from Bukhari, which go ahead and align with the Holy Quran. So ladies and gentlemen, this is why the Shia go ahead and pray on this turba, or this natural clay, this natural stone. This is why we do this. We believe that when you go ahead and pray, we should be prostrating on the natural surface of the earth and not on man-made creations or man-made cloth or man-made clothing. We should be prostrating on a natural surface, if that may be palm or leaves, or rocks or dirt or soil or clay. This is what we should be prostrating on, and this is what we believe. Please guys, once again, like I started the video, do not be ignorant, do not attack each other, have critical and logical discussions about things. And assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I will see you guys in the next video, and free Palestine. Bye bye.